Welcome into this special edition of Sports Den as we celebrate the state champion Centennial Cougars, Class 6A football state champs, after their dramatic 28-27 victory over Edina last weekend. Bill Hupp alongside Matt Dean. And Matt, I'm not sure many people gave the Cougars a chance to be state champions. I think they kind of flew under the radar all season long, but they played well when it counted, and they ended up bringing home a ship back to Circle Point.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, 39 years since the Cougars had even played for a state title, came back with a confident group of seniors. I mean, they were a #1 seed going into the playoffs, but as we know, in Class 6A, it's a gauntlet. Nothing is handed to you, and the Cougars marching their way to victory. So we're going to walk you through the two games at US Bank Stadium the last couple of weeks. We'll start the Thursday before Thanksgiving. Number 3 and number 4 in the state, the Lakeville South Cougars taking on the Centennial Cougars. We start the game here, Lakeville South out of the Power T. Connor Cade, 45-yarder to the house, less than 4 minutes into the game. It's 7-0 South. And the Cougars would get the ball going on the ground with Dalen Cummings. He reaches for the pylon, an 8-yard score, but a high snap on the extra point attempt, and it ends up being Centennial falling behind by 1. Second half now, Cummings from the 40 dials it up inside the 5. Beautiful touch pass to Josh Lee, who finished with 3 catches over 100 yards. Cummings would take a sack wrapped up by Joshua Bergen. The Cougars would inch back to the 2, 1st and goal, and Cummings would race it in for a rushing touchdown here to put Centennial back in command in the game. It was 12-7. South with the ball to start the 4th, Jonah Shine. He busts out a monster run here to give Lakeville South a little bit of breathing room. We go 8 minutes to go in the game, an 8-man box, and the Cougars go to the air. 69-yard touchdown pass. Josh Lee on the post route walks untouched into the end zone, and Lakeville South are down by 5. Cougars go for the 2-point try, find Kellen Binder, 7-point lead, and they hang on to advance to the championship game.
So, in that championship game, Centennial first state title game appearance for the Cougars since 1984 as they look to bring it back to Circle Pines, not Circle Point. Early second quarter, Marcus Whiting takes it in from a yard out to give the Cougars a 7-0 lead. Centennial driving again later when senior quarterback Dalen Cummings keeps the ball on the RPO. Great cutback into the end zone for 6. He would lead all rushers with 119 yards in the game. Less than a minute later, however, sophomore sensation Mason West finds Myers Sweeney over the middle as Edina gets on the board. Then just before halftime, Cummings hits Josh Lee on the out route. Centennial explodes for 21 points in the second quarter to lead 21-7 at the break. Third quarter, John Warpinski plunges in from close range to keep the Hornets within striking distance. Early in the fourth now, Whiting again finds Pater, this time from 11 yards out, and the Cougars take a 2-touchdown lead. But Edina would not go away. Mason West scrambles for a touchdown to make it a 28-21 Cougars lead, and then with 21 seconds left, West connects with Sonny Villegas from 21 yards out to pull Edina within 1. Hornets would go for the 2-point conversion and the win, but the shovel pass to Chase Bjorgard comes up just short. Mike Diggins, as you see how close it was, Centennial winning by the skin of its teeth, but hey, that's all you need. Mike Diggins and the Centennial Cougars are your 2023 Class 6A state champs for the first time in school history.
Taking a look at the Class 6A bracket and the path that Centennial took to get here. The 20-13 win against Lakeville South, perennial attendees at US Bank Stadium this time of year. The big upset came in the semifinals where Edina knocked off previously unbeaten Eden Prairie. And so it was going to be a first-time champion regardless of the outcome of that Prep Bowl final. And the Centennial Cougars, as Bill said, first time they've been in the title game in 39 years. For the first time in school history, they lift the Class 6A crown with that 28-27 win and an all-timer on Friday at US Bank Stadium.
Bill Hupp joined today by 3 of the defensive stars from this Cougars team. Defensive end Marcus Whiting, cornerback Will Quick, and outside linebacker Timmy Ball. And Marcus, let's start with you because This defense pitched 3 shutouts down the stretch, and you averaged, I think, something like 5.6 points per game in terms of surrendering. Pitched a shutout against Rosemount twice. What was the key? I mean, you always had a good defense, but how were you guys able to really turn it on late in the season and be playing your best football at the end?
So after our loss against Maple Grove, the only loss of our season, we made a few key switches that suited our guys better in the defense that we were running. And that made a huge difference. And also, we're just a bunch of tough son of a guns that are going to go punch you in the mouth.
Yeah, well, nothing wrong with that. Will, I want to ask you, because you played a heavily running team in the semifinals in Lakeville South, and then Edina, probably the team that can pass it the best of any opponent you faced this year. What was the adjustment like having to go from facing a primarily running team to a team that really could do both and was much more balanced?
It was a really big difference. Practicing power T, the entire time, run, maybe one pass a game, to Edina where they can, throw it on the field. They got great players, so it took a lot from our corners, took a lot from our coaches to help us get ready, especially our safeties too. But it was a big difference, and I think we prepared good for it.
Now, Timmy, you faced Edina in the playoffs and beat the Hornets in a tough game, I believe in the second round when you guys were juniors. Mm-hmm. Did any of that carry over? Because guys like Warpinski and Villegas and others Meyer Sweeney were all back for the Hornets. Did that familiarity help in the state championship game, do you think?
I don't know so much as help. I think we just knew going into the game that no matter when we face Edina, it's going to be a good game no matter what. And every time it seems we face them, it's just a goal line stop. We turned on the good side this time, so that's good.
This is a question, anyone can take it here, but the nerves. What were the nerves like? What was the atmosphere like, kind of the first half especially of that state semifinal game? And were there as many jitters as you thought there were going to be?
At least for me, I was nervous all the way until I stepped onto the field for warm-ups. Then everything was fine. It was just another football game, and we won, so.
Yeah, you sure did. How about you guys? Any nerves, and how much did jitters play a factor in the game?
I didn't think it was that much big of a difference. It was obviously a lot cooler playing in the bank, but I think once Dalen threw a touchdown to us go up by 7 late in the game, I think it got to me that we're about to win. Had to go throw, but yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I'd say the biggest part was walking in there and seeing all the fans and never having that big of a crowd before and having to play in front of that, but you kind of settle in as the game goes on.
Now, in terms of the noise level and the volume, in terms of the defensive calls, did that affect it, or does it all come in from the sidelines anyway, and so it's not really a big deal?
I'd say, especially the Edina game mostly, is we do have signals, but we have to get it out to everyone on the field, and especially against Edina when we have a lot more coverage calls, it was really difficult to get it to everyone with all the noise, so that actually played a big factor.
Now, you guys pitched as a defense 5 shutouts this year. Is there a real pride? Because once you get up, 35-0, 42-0, whatever the lead is, sometimes the defense can kind of ease off. But it seems like your defense in particular took a real pride in having that goose egg on the scoreboard.
We get donuts if we get a 0. So
Yeah, we did.
Well, there you go.
That's a big part of it.
That's a big one for us.
There you go. I too like donuts, so I understand that motivation. So, you talked about the adjustments after the Maple Grove game, but what other adjustments were kind of made over the course of the year? You started forcing more turnovers, and how much was pressure important in terms of generating those turnovers and leading to that defensive success?
So me and then our other stud, Melvin. Mm-hmm. So Diggins realized that we both need one-on-ones constantly when we get to passing downs. So we started figuring out special calls for us to just start twisting with each other or running stunts with each other just to get each other open for a pressure or sack so we can get Willie over here an interception.
There you go. And Timmy, how about you? What do you think the key was to that defensive resurgence at the end of the year?
I think it was everyone who kind of switched positions, me in particular too, but just getting used to playing that new position and getting more comfortable, and then it kind of fit all of our attributes a lot better and just getting comfortable, like I said before.
I'll ask each of you. We'll start with you, Timmy, and each one go in a row. But when you think about the goals for the year, right? They of course included I assume winning a state championship. But did this senior season, each of your senior seasons, did it go kind of even beyond your wildest dreams?
I mean, I've been playing with a lot of these guys since we were youth, and we've always been talked about as one of the classes that could really get it done. And it's always kind of been talk until most recently, and we've been saying, like, I'd say since 10th grade and even 9th grade, like, we can really get this done if we put the work in. So it was good to see that it came true.
Didn't surprise me much. I mean, once we finally got there, I was like, wow. But, I knew how good our team was. A lot of guys came in. We didn't know how they'd play. Studs like Owen Ringen, first year playing varsity at safety, balled out. I mean, I figured after those first couple games, we were going there and we were going to win.
Almost same with Will. I almost expected to be there, so it wasn't as crazy to me when we were in there. It was really cool, of course, but I just feel like we all knew what we had to do and how to get there. Then we did it and we got there.
Okay, well, I'm going to start with you this time, Marcus, and then we'll go down the row again. But, of course, the state championship is going to be up there. But what are a couple of your sort of favorite memories in thinking about your senior season that you'll sort of carry with you think, for the rest of your life?
Oh, geez.
I ask the tough questions. That's
Yeah.
why they pay me the big bucks.
So week 8 against Rosemount, the first time we played them, it was the last drive. They were driving on us. I think they got to our own 30. And then for some reason they decided to leave me unblocked, and the quarterback runs right to me, so I just get a huge hit. The student section goes crazy. Dalen starts hitting me for some reason. I don't know what's going on. So I didn't think I hit him that hard. And, yeah, that was just awesome. I'll never forget that.
I don't know why Dalen did that, but that's good. How about you, Will? What are your couple of memories or a play like that or something that you're really going to carry with you?
I'd probably say the interceptions, just because it's all I can really do. But especially the biggest part
You've got
was
pass breakups too,
a little bit. Yeah, but
it's important.
seeing the community in the bank, coming together, that was insane. It looked like we had the most people there by far. So
that's what I heard. Yeah,
that was really cool, and that's probably going to stick with me for a long time.
Yeah, for me, I mean, just being able to hang out with everyone, all my friends, not taking any of that for granted. But the biggest thing was, like Will said, in the U.S. Bank Stadium and seeing, shout out to our student section, but seeing fans, spread around into the other side of the stadium because they don't fit on this side, and then seeing the skull chant when they did that in the stadium, that was really cool.
Oh, that's a great memory. Last question for you guys, and I'm just curious because there was so much pressure, right? 39 years. I mean, I was born in 1984, and I'm old. So that's how it's been a long time since Centennial made it to the state semifinals and had never won a state title. So was there any pressure? I know you guys talked about how you felt confident that you could get it done, that you had the team to get it done. But was there any additional pressure that you felt going into that Rosemount game, considering they had beat you by shutout last year in the same game? Or was getting over to that particular hump the catalyst for winning this state championship? We'll start with you, Marcus.
So yeah, Rosemount was probably the game that I was actually most nervous for, because I didn't really know who we were all the way yet. But as soon as we scored the first touchdown, I'm like, okay, we can do this. We're winning the state championship.
I'd say after, who did we play after Grove? Was it STMA?
Yeah.
I'd say after we played STMA, and we beat them pretty good, held them to 0 points till the fourth quarter after a bad game, basically, that we played. And we turned it around, and I figured, that's our turning point. That's where we're going to be the rest of the year.
Yeah, like Will said, the STMA game, that was really big. But I think just being able, our defense, kind of finding ourselves after Maple Grove and being able to put up goose eggs that was a big part. That kind of showed me who we were.
Well, who you were is a state championship team and a state championship defense leading the way for the Cougars this year. I'd like to thank Marcus Whiting, Will Quick, and Timmy Ball for joining us. Matt Dean will be joined by the members of the state champion offense next on this special edition of Sports Desk.
The 20, the 10, touchdown, Centennial!
Welcome back into Sports Den here. Our special edition celebrating the Centennial Cougars state championship run in the Class 6A playoffs. We chatted with the defense. We're moving on to the offense. We're here with three seniors: Dalen Cummings, quarterback for the Centennial Cougars; Maverick Harper, running back; and Joe Streff from the offensive line. Guys, thanks for being here. Dalen, we'll start with you. One of the senior captains this year. We talked about it a little bit. We chatted with you at preseason practice. I was impressed with how confident you guys were. Tell me about how it wasn't arrogance, but you guys had high expectations for this year. How did you kind of go into the year setting those goals while still, maintaining the focus on kind of each step of the process week by week?
Yeah, so one of my mottos is confident but not cocky. So we're going to be confident, and we've been working our butts off all season. I've said that many times, and we've been growing up together, and we knew this was a very doable thing to go win a state championship this year.
Yeah, and Maverick Harper, running back for the Cougars this year. Mav, good teams always find ways to motivate themselves, find things to pump them up week to week, keep them going. You guys had I think, pretty obvious 2 games to circle on the calendar. A couple of teams that beat you last season in Maple Grove, and in particular Rosemount, who you ended up facing twice. When you guys got to those games, what was the energy like in using revenge as kind of a motivator from the previous season?
Yeah, it kind of runs in our blood to be physical. So just being physical the whole game, kind of shoving it down their throats since they beat us last year. We all had kind of feel going into these games. Just kind of pissed us all off to want to just crush them.
Yeah. Joe, we've heard about the defense and how they kind of set the tone for the team. Centennial football on offense has a very specific ground and pound, run heavy kind of culture. How much do you guys take pride in that, the style of football that Centennial plays? Tell me what it is and why you guys take pride in it.
I mean, at least up front, I know all of our guys love it. We just love to hit someone every play, running all the time. Pass is a nice break every once in a while, but, just running the ball all the time, getting after somebody. It's what we do. We love it.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of passing, you guys did run the ball exceptionally well all year. I think one of the fun stories, Dalen, was the passing game kind of taking more of a center stage than we're used to from Centennial down the stretch. 2 of your biggest yardage games came in the playoffs. You threw for 160 against Lakeville South. Was that just a function where I know you get to kind of audible at the line a lot, make those decisions? Did you start to pass a little more because the defenses were too good, where you couldn't just sell out run the whole game?
I don't think any defense was too good for our offense. I think we definitely have one of the best offenses in the state. And, the O-line, they definitely get after it. Makes it a lot easier for us runners to, find that hole and get going. But, when teams know we're gonna ground and pound, we're gonna run the ball. So, they like to load the box, which opens up the pass a lot more, and it makes it easy when, you got Josh Lee, Ty Burgoon, Brock, Will Quick, those guys they're fast and they can catch the ball. So, yeah, I mean, it's fun when we pass, but I love to run it too.
Maverick, could you feel the box being a little bit softer maybe with how Dalen was throwing it in the playoffs?
Yeah, for sure. I could for sure tell that, but, there's nothing much. I don't blame them. I mean, we have great guys out there to throw the ball to, so.
Yeah. Joe, the offensive line had quite a bit of turnover from last year's team that made it to state. You were one of a couple returning starters. How much did you challenge yourself to take on a leadership role with somewhat of a newer group up front with the running game being so dominant?
Yeah, I think we had just me and the other guard, Trent. He came back, but everyone else was new, and I felt like I kind of needed to set an example sometimes. They didn't really know sometimes, like, first game, speed of the game kind of a thing, and I just felt like I had to be confident out there, so show them it's nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah. For each of you, tell me about the week leading up to that first game at US Bank Stadium. How much time do you actually get to spend on the field before the game? You guys are obviously the nightcap on the Friday of the championship game. How did you try to acclimate to playing at the home of the Vikings when it's obviously a once-in-a-lifetime experience?
Yeah, well, our coaches, they're prepared, so they got us there a little bit earlier, to just get there. We sat in the stands for a little bit to watch the game before us, just get a feel for the lights, get a feel for how it's going to be out there. And, once you get on the field, it is a little bit different, but you just got to remember it's just another football field, it's just another football game. And I think after our first couple drives, we struggled, but once we got the nerves out, we kicked it into gear and we started doing what we do. And they said like about 10,000 fans at that championship game. Your nerves are going to run a little high, but I think we did a good job of calming down and just doing our thing.
Mav, where were you running when you first got into the tunnels at US Bank Stadium? Were you taking photos? What kind of Vikings pics were you trying to take? Like, you gotta let yourself become a fan at least for a little bit when you first get there.
Yeah,
right?
it was pretty crazy walking in there and running out of the tunnel. There's not much to it. It was just a great feeling knowing that we made it to the bank.
Yeah. Joe, what about you? What did you enjoy about your US Bank experience leading up to the game when you had to kind of focus up?
I feel like walking through the back area when you first get there, like, wow, we're really here. We're in the US Bank Stadium. And then that first time you walk out on the field, you kind of get that initial shell shock. And it's real. There's a lot of people here. You're playing where the Vikings are, but you settle down and it's just another football game.
Yeah. You guys are seniors, so you get to go out on top, winning a state championship. This journey, though, started much earlier. You played, Dalen, with Joe since the 4th grade. You all three have been on the same team roughly together since 7th grade. Dalen, tell me about some early 4th grade stories about Joe. What are some early memories that you can remember of playing with these two guys?
Wow, there's quite a few. I just gotta say they're great guys. I love them to death. They're like brothers to me. And we've just been kicking butt since we were young. Me and Joe being on the same youth team for as long as I can remember, and we were the Land Sharks, and my dad was the coach, and we just went out there, we kicked butt. That's just what we did.
Yeah, I know, like, we keep saying, oh, it's 39 years, Centennial had never won, they hadn't been in the championship in that long, but, like, you guys must have won a lot of football games in 7th grade, Mav.
Yeah, it's nice just being with these guys since 7th grade, knowing what everyone can do, knowing how everyone plays. It's just a great feeling to win state with them now.
Joe, was Dalen Cummings a leader in 4th grade football, or did he have to grow into it a little bit?
He was. He's always been a leader of the offense or defense wherever he is.
Yeah. All right, last thing, guys, favorite memories that you're going to look back on from your high school football career?
Well, definitely winning a state championship, and I'll have to say, before that 2-point conversion, our defense coordinator, Diggins Jr., just told us, hey, take a deep breath, look around, look at all these fans who are here to watch you, look at our community, came out to support you guys. And, once we saw that, we were like, it's go time. We're going to go stuff these guys on the goal line. So I think that's one of the core memories as well.
That's really cool. Maverick, what stands out to you? Something somebody said, something that happened in the game, what sticks with you?
Yeah, it's obviously winning state, but after we got that onside kick, probably seeing everyone's faces just absolutely stunned, and just the best feeling probably everyone had. Seeing our coaches, Coach Diggins, just so fired up. I've never seen him like it, but it was crazy.
I saw him slide into the team photo at the end. I loved it. He was cutting loose. Joe, what are you going to remember?
Just always getting to put on a show against Blaine. Never lost to him once in high school, at least. After losing to Rosemount junior year, coming out and sending them home this year, pitching a shutout against them. That's fun. And then the state title.
Yeah. No, of course, the state title, but all the steps that led up to it as well, kind of building up. That's what makes it special. All right, our thanks to Dalen Cummings, to Maverick Harper, to Joe Streff here from the offense. We'll be back to wrap things up here in Sports Den, put a capper in the fall season and the Cougars' state championship run when we come back.
An apple core or potato peels. That leftover pizza you promised you'd eat.
Ew.
Those dirty napkins and paper towels.
Stop treating us like garbage.
Did you know up to 30% of what you're throwing away could be composted? Composting gives your discards new life, which can be used to improve soil. To learn more about the new organics drop-off programs available throughout the county and get your free starter kit, go to anokacounty.us/organics.
Welcome back to this special edition of Sports Den. A big thanks to all the Centennial players, both offense and defense, that joined Matt and I today. And Matt, you had a chance to call a number of Centennial football games this year. I mean, I asked the players what their special memories from this season were, and how about you? What stands out to you from, you had the chance to call their state quarterfinal win, but what stands out to you when you think about this past Cougar season?
Yeah, I think a couple things that jump to mind. I remember we went out to practice right before the season started, and I remember how confident the Cougars were. And we said a little bit early, Bill, like, okay, people maybe weren't a huge pick to win state this year. We thought they were going to be pretty good, but then when all the players started saying, hey, we're going to win state, we're going to go undefeated. They didn't quite go undefeated, but they went all the way. So the confidence that they were playing with right from the onset stands out. And I remember in your interview with the defensive players, they talked about the STMA game. Was there going to be any confidence shaken after that first loss of the season against Maple Grove? We went to a fun atmosphere. St. Michael was a great environment, and just a dominant performance by the Centennial defense when they'd kind of, given up some yards the couple of weeks prior to that, leading up to it. So seeing the defense play that game, I remember, felt like in my brain, like a turning point where I thought, wow, yeah, this team could go on a run, and they did.
Yeah, no question about it. And you and I had the pleasure of calling them beating Blaine again this year quite handily. And it just was a team that was not content with a simple win, but they really set out to dominate you. And I think for me, the memory that stands out is the big turnovers that were forced against Prior Lake. Prior Lake, maybe the toughest 5 seed in Class 6A. Big guys all over their offensive and defensive lines. And yet Centennial hung tough, gutted it out, and Dalen Cummings plunging in from a yard out in overtime gave them the victory and ultimately spurred them on to the state championship. So this is, at the end of the day, Matt, just a team that really knew how to win. They could win blowouts, but they could also win close games, and they certainly proved that in the state playoffs this year.
I think Centennial might have some other pretty good teams coming down the pipe, but people are always going to remember this one because they were the first to win it all. First in 39 years. And that's going to do it for the fall season on Sports Den. We'll have a mid-December episode coming up to start getting into the winter sports season. Bill and I will be on the Centennial Spring Lake Park girls hockey call tomorrow as they take on Elk River, our first look at the 10th ranked Cougars. Should be fun. We'll talk to you in a mid-December episode coming up on the 18th on Sports Den. That's Bill Hupp. I'm Matt Dean. Thanks again to all the Centennial Cougars here with us on our final episode of the fall here on Sports Den.